Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us here on Today on eNCA. Limpopo, like other provinces in the country, has faced years of water scarcity. Now, after over 8 years of working on the Giyani Bulk Water Project, residents are a step closer to benefiting from it. Water is finally flowing from the Nandoni pipeline and into the canal situated in Shikukwani village outside Giyani. The multi-billion rand project is meant to supply water to residents in Pembe, Mopani and Capricorn districts. To talk to us more about this milestone is Risimati Mathye from the Department of Water and Sanitation. A very good afternoon and welcome to the show this afternoon. Obviously, you've completed the construction of the 40-kilometer pipeline. How will it improve the lives of the people?
Thank you for having us. As you have said, the 40.5 kilometers raw bulk water pipeline from Nandoni Dam to Giyani.
Yeah.
On average, we're looking at about, specifically around Giyani, which is under Mopani District Municipality. We're looking at a population of about 1.2 million people should be able to benefit from the treated water.
Sure.
Which will come off from the very same bulk line that takes water from Nandoni to Giyani. So that is the population dynamic in terms of the beneficiation of the project.
And obviously, getting to this point didn't come without any challenges. Talk to me about what were some of the stumbling blocks along the way.
It's well documented that the project has been running for some years now. It goes as far back as about 2010 or so. There were issues which are well documented in terms of corruption, which SIU is quite busy with that. We are glad that they're at least at an advanced stage to deal with the matters. But to fast track to where we are now, when the new minister came in August 2021, Minister Mkuno, one of his champion program was to ensure that the project that has been stalled for years get completed. And we're talking about Giyani in this instance. And what he basically did was that the department needs to accelerate the project. There were issues of communities around the Nandoni Dam who, under Pembe district, who felt they should also benefit from the same project in terms of getting water because they're also having challenges of water supply in that municipality. So there were issues of strikes and community protests. And over and above that, it actually delayed the project since the minister took over. But then those issues, we are glad to say that they're all resolved. The whole pipeline has now been laid all the way from Nandoni to Giyani. It's now able to transmit water. The other delay that we had now, William, was quite early in the year. We have had a lot of rain around Giyani. And it actually pushed and delayed the anticipated completion date. But all those obstacles are now clear. So the raw water, which is the main component when we talk about the Giyani project, which is supposed to take water from the dam in Nandoni around Venda, and then takes the water all the way to Giyani to benefit Mopani district municipalities.
I like that you touched on, Risimati, the issue of corruption. I mean, why did it take so long? You've just mentioned those delays, but why did it actually take so long?
When the issue of corruption started, of course, it actually delayed the project because there were a lot of investigations that had to be done.
Yeah.
There were a lot of litigations between some of the service providers and the department and the implementing agent. So those basically took time, and also the department had to change the implementation model to ensure that at least the project still gets finalized. Now, after clearing all those issues, then the project now started gaining a momentum. And we are grateful that as soon as the Minister Mkuno came in, he ensured that most of those low-hanging fruits are cleared by the department, and the department then put funding to accelerate the project towards completion.
And do you have any plans to increase productivity now that the pipeline is functioning?
Yes, there is actually a phase that is currently going on now. And if I can take into confidence, is that we have a treatment works in Giyani, which is supposed to clean the raw water that we're moving from Nandoni Dam to Giyani.
Okay.
So there's a treatment works which is...
This is before it gets to the taps?
So before it gets to the taps, you still have to treat this water so that it is in a drinkable standard based on our SANS 241. So that treatment works for now. We have a contractor, and then it's basically implemented by Mopane District Municipality.
Okay.
There's a contractor on the ground who's busy refurbishing that treatment works and upgrading it to make sure that it actually operates at full capacity. So that is the first phase that we're doing. Over and above that, the main component which actually addresses the issue you've raised now is that the minister gave the department a mandate that we must support Mopane District Municipality to ensure that we reticulate water. We move from the old RDP standard of communal taps where people have to push a wheelbarrow to get to the tap. Now we're increasing the level of service to yard connections to the 55 villages around Mopane District Municipalities. As of January this year, some contractors have already started. We even managed to take a scoper to site, a couple of villages, as in Bambeni, Homo 14A. There are contractors now on the ground of the first 24 villages that must be reticulated out of the 55 villages. Thereafter, we'll move to the balance of the 31 villages. So in total, we would have reticulated 55 villages where we are saying, although you are receiving water now, with the current RDP standard where people have to push a wheelbarrow to get to the tap, now we're bringing water to basically the yard connection. So that's how this whole project will impact communities in a larger scale.
And how were these contractors appointed?
The contractors were appointed by Mopane District Municipality. So what happens is that the department has grants which are documented in our National Treasury frameworks, our DORA framework, where municipalities must be supported in terms of funding. So Mopane District Municipality, which oversees all the villages around Giyani, we support them by giving them grants, which is actually managed by us, but through the guidance of National Treasury. So we appoint them as the implementing agent, we give them the grant, they then go through procurement processes. But we have ensured as the department that when they do procurement, the supply chain process, they're not doing it in isolation of us. We use our regional offices, we use our engineers, we use our supply chain specialists to form part of the processes inside so that when audit comes, we are not found wanting to eliminate some of the previous challenges that we have. So that's how we're basically ring-fencing the whole processes in terms of appointment of the contractors. And
in wrapping up, let's talk about the timelines. I mean, we are speaking now, it's 2023, and we've got elections coming up next year. What sort of timelines are you giving the other projects in the pipeline?
So, as I've said, the raw water from Nandoni to Sami is now completed.
Yes.
It's actually functional. The treatment works, which will treat the same water that we're moving from Nandoni. The contractor is in place. The timelines are that by December this year, that treatment work should be working at full capacity of producing at least 80 megaliters per day to supply those villages. So that is the second component. The third component, which talks to reticulation. The first 24 villages, 17 contractors have already been appointed as we speak now. 3 or 4 are already on the ground as we speak. So the first phase of the 24 villages should be completed at the latest by January next year.
Okay.
So the balance of the 31 villages, we are already busy now with paperwork in terms of design, putting together all those specifications so that at least as late as this year to early next year, at least the next phase of the 31 villages also needs to be reticulated.
Thank you so much for your time. That was Risimati Mathye from the Department of Water and Sanitation talking to us this afternoon.